supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. You just can't. What do you mean you can't?
He won't let go.
What do you mean he won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you covered. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing. I think it's on the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah.
Hey, do you the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, that's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your, nope, get after it, and that's your treat. Stay, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's probably worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days
Is a
ago.
dog been digging in there?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to the house. Just leave it.
The hell with that.
Oh! Ah, yeah. There's something in there. Ah!
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is... Oh!
Well, I hope y'all have been enjoying your summer breaks, but it's time to get those butts back indoors. It's too hot out anyways. Let's play some Marvel Rivals instead. Welcome everybody to the Marvel Rivals tournament here at NECC. My name is Paulsible. With me is Nuke, and we're heading into Division 2. Right? We're squeaking in under the wire right before playoffs get started. We're going to see who makes it there today, Nuke.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here, Paulsible, on the inaugural Summer Marvel Rivals tournament. It's going to be a great time. We're in Division 2, like you said, in Group A, and we got an interesting matchup. We got California State University Orange against Fresno State Red. Pretty excited for
Yeah.
the high-level gameplay we're going to see tonight.
The battle for California State.
Yeah,
We
the
got
battle for
Fresno
California
versus
State.
Fullerton. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
why not, right? And both these teams have been doing a pretty good job thus far. Unfortunately, our standings behind the scenes aren't 100% complete, but both teams only currently having one loss, at least recorded down, that we can see. And Fresno's only loss was an FF in week 1, so something tells me they just didn't have their schedule all together so far. So it should be a very competitive match we got going on here tonight, Nuke.
Yeah, I mean, it's that summer schedule, right? We also talked about the amount of folks that are just listed on Fullerton's roster, and they have a small army, Paulsible. I think
Yeah.
that's a total of 12 to 13 folks they just have on the roster. We were talking a little bit behind the scenes before, and, it's likely that they weren't all able to commit to schedules. We even saw some scheduling changes going into this week, so it makes more sense to have a super roster and kind of check that availability when it comes to club teams versus just saying, we'll try it with who we have.
Yeah, especially for a tournament like this, right? Where we're just warming up when it comes to Marvel Rivals here at NECC. No need to take it too serious. Get everybody in here. Have some fun. Let's see who can make it on the day. Of course, folks, you all know how Marvel Rival works. We're going to have a best of 5 for you find off on Domination. Our two teams each got to ban one of the 2 Domination maps in the pool, and that leaves us heading to Hell's Heaven.
Yeah, heading straight to Hell's Heaven. And the pick bans will be interesting. Pretty straightforward, going to Domination first, like you said. Hell's Heaven, an exciting map, says we're going to the Hydra Charterist base first.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we get into this map, just for any of our folks at home, maybe you've watched a ton of Marvel Rivals pro scene. Maybe you haven't watched any Marvel Rivals at all. Your buddy is just on one of these teams and told you, hey, I'm going to be on stream. Come look, come look. The way that this is going to work is when we get into the map, there is going to be bans and protections for our different rosters of heroes. Each side's going to get to ban a couple, then pick a couple to protect, and then ban, and then pick, and then ban, etc. And then they actually get into the game, and we'll get into the action.
Right. And that'll be a crucial time, protecting the heroes that you certainly want to play, going in and making sure that if they're a cornerstone of your team, or if you have a comp completely based around it, or, if it's the base of a team up, like you're planning on playing Rocket Penny, you'll want to make sure that Rocket's protected going into the pick ban phase.
And here we are. We're headed into that very first pick ban. Both teams will get to ban one already. The Emma Frost ban coming out early from Fresno State.
Yeah, Emma Frost incredibly strong right now, and the centerpiece of team up with Magneto and Psylocke could spell some trouble if chosen. Also, just an annoying character to deal with dive, so maybe Fresno State looking to play some dive.
Personally, I'm a big Magneto enjoyer myself. I love to see an Emma Frost step onto the team with me. It makes my life very fun. Yeah. Punisher, the other one down. Punisher, one of those picks that we're seeing a lot at the pro scene. I mean, the ultimate is just so devastating. Even the high-value support ults, support ults in Marvel Rivals are just insane across the board, pretty much. Even those struggle to deal with him. So he's going to be hitting the bench. Storm protected for CSUF as well.
Ooh. Yeah, like you said, that Punisher, pretty good ban. You can use Final Judgment and kill through most ultimates. Storm, an up-and-comer. We've seen more this last year. Once again, very, very good ultimate. She can pair with both Jeff. A lot of group control and dynamical shift there around her abilities as well. Looks like they're going to protect Captain America and ban Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah,
they don't want the team up.
Yeah, there's that targeted ban, right? You see the Storm Protect come in. You don't want that team up. You don't want that extra synergy coming through. Otherwise, though, it's been very Vanguard heavy thus far for Fresno State. Rocket Raccoon also hitting the bench.
There it is.
That's an interesting one. I mean, Rocket Raccoon definitely has his uses. I wouldn't say I personally have Rocket Raccoon rated as like one of the top strategist picks right now, especially in a map like Domination where, you think of like the Luna Snow and the Invisible Wind. I mean, all of these big AoE healing ultimates, I feel like do you better work, but apparently there's something CSUF don't like about going against him.
Oh, and they're going to protect the Loki, which means they could be running a triple support comp tonight. Loki pretty good in that third spot. That would be interesting. It's kind of interesting to see both sides with these awkward sort of picks and bans. The Emma ban means, you know, they might be looking to run dive, but then you see the Rocket ban. When Penny Rocket's so good against dive, we're seeing them protect the Hela. So, you know, one of the best hit scans in the game. And obviously, if they're going to take down the Punisher, that Hela's got to come to play.
And I'm looking at the protect on the Cap, the Hela, and then a ban on the Wolverine. I'm going to be keeping my eye on the Vanguards for Fresno State. Something about the way this is all played out is sort of telling me, hey, they really want to enable their tanks to play the game they want to play. They want tanks that don't have to worry about that Emma Frost Magneto team up, right? You have the Cap, you can go in very heavy, and then you'll have Hela on the back. You don't have to worry about your tanks getting abducted by the Wolverine either. So I'm keeping my eye on those Vanguards.
Yeah, almost makes me wonder as well if they're maybe looking to run the Thor with the Odinson Reborn. Hela has obviously Thor and Cap have a lot of synergy. You know, they don't have the team up anymore, but previously there was a team up at play that was incredibly strong. So it could be going around that, but we are able to see the comps now, and interesting indeed. I don't think I was right in a single prediction because they're just running Doctor Strange, the good old Doctor Strange, keep the backline alive on Fresno State, and some interesting antics you can get around with that portal with Strange.
Really interesting poke comp, too. I mean, the Doctor Stranges here might just be for first fight for the teleport, but of course that shield, the Eye of Agamotto, very good for domination as well. But CSUF, seeing that the Hela was protected on the other side, choosing to go into both Storm and Iron Man. Whenever I'm playing Hela, I mean, I'm not that good of a shot, but I like to see aerials around because it gives me a very particular target. Although having two of them, we'll have to see if Kinda Cat can keep that in hand.
Yeah, I agree on that end, and that poke coming out now. You know, that's probably why the Punisher ban came through. They were afraid of a double hit scan comp, and Namor is, while more meta, easier to play around. That Hela can just be oppressive, and we're seeing Groot come in now, trying to get the walls down. Unfortunately, going to fall themselves. That's going to be Deathmonk picking up one for the side of CSUF, though. Bill Zandia taking out Clean, and it's looking like CSUF will take control of this first point, sneaking it in 6 seconds now, but Fresno State re-engaging, not letting go of this point quite yet, even though they probably should regroup with a couple down.
Really nicely done by CSUF. They play perfectly on the wire there. The Groot wall isolating one of the tanks just enough to so that the damage could get in. And now you're going into a pretty difficult setup. It's always more fun to be the Iron Man or the Storm, any flyer that is on the objective. So Clean is going to have a tough time trying to find value here comparatively.
Yeah, this is also just a tough map for running sort of double anti-dive. Both of these flying characters. You got to find the right angle. And unfortunately, with an Iron Man on both sides and those Groot walls coming up, it's going to spell trouble here pretty soon when he has Pulse up line.
I mean, it's just impossible to walk in here right now. Even if you could get in, the damage is just going to be insane. Still, both support ults up for CSUF, although they have lost one of their Vanguards.
Ooh, they did lose a Vanguard, and now that is the Captain America wreaking havoc in the backline. We're going to see the Hela ult. And what is this? The stage is shifting a little bit. Hela getting pushed backwards. That will be the Cloak and Dagger ult on point as well, but Clean, not Hitori, synergizing together, and Fresno State will take this point. 4% now to the 68. CSUF were able to hold in that first take.
The benefit for that for CSUF is they didn't invest a ton, but unfortunately neither did Fresno State. So I'm looking at this Eye of Agamotto. There's not much to block it on the other side. So if you can isolate Mean, there it is. The wall nearly gets him out of there in the first place, but you got to take him down. Oh, and with Magic Man already falling, that just makes it so much more difficult.
Oh yeah, the Omega Hurricane coming out. That's going to be Clean with the beam taking out the Omega Hurricane. Fresno State holding well. You were right, that Eye of Agamotto caused so much disruption. Clean was able to get in almost surgically and take out Ritsky, which completely dominated any chance they had on taking the point.
It was a quick fight, though, and still CSUF barely used anything compared to Fresno State. They used the fate of both worlds, and that was their key to try and hold on here. So Noah has to get the invisible barrier up soon. Agamotto hits a couple. The follow-up's there as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, going to
Well,
fall,
maybe not.
but did get the point. Got one right. It's like it was a little scrappy, but the portal is still up. There's still a Never mind.
There it goes. There it goes. Yeah, a little bit discoordinated from CSUF. I think they had the right idea there, but they weren't all on the same page. So now, not many tools to work with, and 73% in climbing. This is looking good for Fresno to hold.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the Iron Man maybe got a little too antsy, wasn't able to get in with the rest of the team, but this is their chance to come back clean, keeping them at a distance, going to melt that shield and allow an opening for the rest of the team to get in. Fresno State showing an absolute resurgence on this first map, looking very, very strong, like they're going to hold.
That was a tough first fight for Fresno, but it's been all Fresno since then. Still 3 gorgeous ultimates, and no one's even going to be able to touch there. And that kind of goes to show CSUF, you know, I talked about it on the first fight. I was saying, oh, Clean's going to have a hard time getting back in here. Well, once he got back in there, it was the Flyers on the other side. It's a very low ceiling on that first point. And it doesn't make Ritsky or Deathmonk's life easy. And you can see Deathmonk already looking to swap off.
Yeah, Josiah 12 also swapping. And that's a smart play. I think the group, while it works a lot of the time, if you just have Flyers constantly poking the shields, there's not much you can do. And in fact, you're just providing more cover for them than what you are intending to, you know, separate members of your team. Also, I love the Deathmonk swap over to Winter Soldier here. There's a lot that you can do, obviously, with anti-dive to pull apart this backline that might dive you. It's looking good so far. I think CSUF is making changes in the right direction, but we'll see how it plays out.
Does mean that you swap away from any ultimates you might have had going in.
Very true. Very true.
Fresno
Yeah,
State
that 50%.
I mean, they just have so much available to them. Magic Man is going to have an excellent ult on the Cloak and Dagger. The, oh my word, I'm forgetting it. The Internal Bond.
Yep.
Going to have to be quite the savior. And already Clean getting in very quickly. It's so easy for him to just poke and poke and poke, and here comes the Goddess of Death too.
Immediately, yeah, the Hela ult holding off this room. They recognize that they were in the room, and it's going to take a lot of time to go around. They certainly would not have time to contest, so that was a very calculated move from Fresno State to take that early take. What's going on
Too much
here?
from Flarkin, though. At least it's eventually traded back. Jazar doesn't quite get in there. Agamotto, not quite blocked. Nicely done by Mine to finesse inside and save what could have been a tricky fight considering the pick.
Yeah, Kinda Cat taken out too on the side of CSUF as well, is going to spell a full take for Fresno State. What do they got to do in the next fight here, Paulsible?
Well, the good news is it's not that hard for the next fight in theory. As long as you can outlast the fate of both worlds from Not Hitori, you're going to be able to have what you need. I mean, it's double support ults for CSUF and the Meteor M. Jazire needs to find a good pick with this. He's going in.
Yeah, Magic Man going in. Maximum Pulse coming down. Going to hit 3! That's a massive shot from Jarzire. And now we're seeing the Storm Ultimate come through as well. Just wiping point. Omega Hurricane will take it. And CSUF did what they needed to get back online. The Maximum Pulse coming through almost spelled disaster. They were able to make it on point, though.
That's one of the great things about Magneto. You get the punch and you get the shielding. You're able to block things like the Maximum Pulse, and you're able to throw in your own. Although you got to be alive to do so. That makes things a little bit more tricky.
Ooh, Avengers are assembling, and that is now going to be Flarkin Casual on point. I don't know if that's the thing, but that's going to be them on point. I have Agamotto coming through, but Fate of Both Worlds going to keep everyone alive on point. Kinda Cat finding the pick on Ilzandia. That's going to be clean on I'm a Fish, and now they're pushing through this room, taking everything in sight.
Great pressure from Flarkin there. I mean, just charges the backline on the Captain America, pulls out the one remaining support ult, and later support ult, better support ult. It was very easy for Not Hitori to secure that fight. And, okay. Lanzia barely manages to get out of there. For a second, I thought Fresno were the ones chasing too far forward, but look how many ults they still have, too. And already at 71%. CSUF, I mean, you're going to need Deathmonk to pop off in this next fight if you want to stay on the first map.
Yeah, and they did have 3 come online, so this could be a great opportunity for an armed and dangerous Death Monk trying to find an angle here, maybe look for a pull. Gonna find a lot low, but nothing on the other end is there, just peppering this doorway. That's gonna be Magic Man carpeting onto point. We're seeing an invisible woman ult in retaliation on the corner of point. Some pushes trying to get people off point, but that's going to be no falling to Jarzire, and a fade between worlds coming through. Another invisible woman ult. We're just ult dumping on point at this point. Omega Hurricane coming through again on the point. Deathmonk going to find one, and it's looking like Fresno State is holding on by a thread as CSUF show that they are still in this match.
And Fresno are going to be the ones regretting using all of those ultimates. CSUF had to use ults, but Fresno could have held things like the fate of both worlds for this upcoming fight. Now you have to try and enter with the Goddess of Death, which can be really tricky to do, and still potent killing ultimates from both Deathmonk and Jazzire ready to go.
Oh my lord, Clean switching over to the Spider-Man, looking for some cheeky picks on the side as we're seeing over here, and there's that Meteor M coming through. Jarzire gonna find Kleinacat going straight up for it. What a shot! Armed and dangerous again, find him 2, count him maybe 3. Deathmonk looking to wipe the team, count him 4. Oh. The Quadra coming through for Deathmonk will hold down the fort for CSUF.
Gorgeous fight and resets there from CSUF to hold on to that one. Like I said, Fresno, they just didn't have enough to punch through what CSUF were working with. And now the Cloak and Dagger ult is back up too. Eternal Bond will keep CSUF in this fight long after Fresno State has run out of steam. If CSUF can just hold out to the Eye of Agamotto, they'll be in a great place to send us to a round 3 of domination.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Hela ult to deal with as well, and a few others coming up. I mean, a Fatal Between Worlds will be able to keep things together, but there's the Eye of Agamotto coming out on point. That's going to be one falling. Deathmonk, the DPS falling to Kleinacat. Kleinacat looking for another, but the Carpet Bomb is going to keep everyone alive on the side of Fresno State for now. That's an Eye of Agamotto in retaliation with the Omega Hurricane. Magic Man taking all the credit, though. That's 4 kills on the side for Magic Man on CSUF, and it looks like they are going to take us to a 3rd map of our first.
Really nice hold there from CSUF. They used all their ults at the perfect time. For a second, I thought that Cloak and Dagger ult, the Eternal Bond, was going to be just a hair too late when I saw the Eye of Agamotto the other way, although frozen up and Deathmonk going down. I was worried maybe not enough people got caught, maybe enough, like there weren't enough fields laid out to actually give substantial healing. But it was enough for 5 to survive, and it was a critical 5 as well. That Eye of Agamotto from Bill Anzio was just icing on the cake for that round. And now we're back to pretty much even Stevens. We're going into this first fight on our last round of domination. Clean slate, no ults.
Yeah, Flarkin Casuals making the swap over to the Magneto. Might be good for Fresno State here. But we are seeing a bit of a mirror comp in a way between these two comps now. At least the front line, the Vanguards, will be the same throughout. And Kleinacat making an interesting swap over to the Starla as well.
Star-Lord here. I mean, there are some excellent angles for it, but it feels like a composition that is going to be very difficult for Kleinacat to actually poke onto those healers. I mean, Cloak and Dagger generally has some pretty good escape. There's a lot of heal from both Magneto and the Doctor Strange. I think Kleinacat's life is going to be pretty difficult here.
Not as difficult as Deathmonk's, falling to Clean first blood in the fight. Balanzia gonna take the next one out, and Jarzire following up with the healer. That, with Fresno State's Invisible Woman down, CSUF gonna take this first point pretty handedly. It's looking like a backup move from Fresno State, but they're trying to hang in and not lose too much ground that they've gained already.
Oh, and you can see Mind really wants to go for an Eye of Agamotto here, but the follow-up, you have to make sure your team is ready for it.
And speaking of, there it is. We'll see if they're ready or not. Paulsible going in. That's going to be a great shield coming out from the Magneto, trying to keep CSU's F's Cloak and Dagger Magic Man alive. But Fresno State, as we're dealing the damage, so too come the ultimates. We're seeing the Omega Hurricane on point, trying to target that Star-Lord in the back room, going to find them. And Fresno State, unfortunately, coming out of that Omega Hurricane, Clean going to fall almost immediately.
Still a Meteor Mash here, too, from Fresno State. You can try and commit to this. I mean, it looks like Meteor still wants to go for it, despite the players being down, but I just don't think you have the pacing. Meteor Mash actually... Oh, okay, blocked the other direction. Jesire not getting anything out of it this time. And ult's being invested here from CSUF as well. I have Agamotto probably going to have to be the name of the game here if CSUF want to hold.
Yeah, not Hitori throwing the fate between worlds out, fate of both worlds out, trying to keep everyone alive, getting 2 point. But this is just seems like a delayed fight at this point. Paulsible, the Eye of Agamotto coming out from mine. Fresno State really, really wanting this point and showing they're waiting 70% to take it, and they'll do everything they can. But it's still just a scrap fest.
It takes a lot of time for Fresno State to get back into this, and they have to invest a slew of powerful ultimates. The good news is they still are holding on to the invisible boundary, so they have a way to try and even up some of the percentage. And that will be a great tool, too, against Deathmonk's ultimate.
Yeah, we'll see if it's enough going into this first map. I mean, this could be a repeat of what we saw in the very, very first round. They have 80%, right? Fresno State could come back in and hold this down. They do have a great choice in the Johnny Storm now going into the fight. We're hearing us against the world, so we know the Cloak and Dagger ult coming out. House of M coming through, House of M, this is me. Meteor M coming through, trying to stop the ultimate, but it will not prevail. Instead, we're seeing the invisible boundary fall on point, and Fresno State taking a playbook out of CSUF, just trying to stall as long as they can, but the Legendary coming out, and this is Deathmonk in the backline, causing mayhem.
Nicely done by Deathmonk there, not bothering to throw the Legendary in during the invisible boundary, instead using that time to reposition and ensuring that once everything had expired, it was just going to be easy peasy. Now, I mean, it's a desperate touch here into just a slew of ultimates. Sure, you can... Oh, actually, I think that was early. I don't think you trigger the overtime off that, so gonna have even more here. Agamotto does completely whiff, though.
It does, yeah. The push came out from Noah, taking Bilizandia quite on the other side of the point. That's going to give Fresno State an opening to get back into this. We're hearing Galactic Legend again. Kinecat got it up once more. Now peppering point again, trying to do everything they can. Dodging the Meteor M throw. And that's CSU Orange now against not Hitori's a fate of both worlds. Trying to fight for possession of this point going into the end of this first round.
CSUF getting a bit greedy there. They didn't need to fight so intensely. They could have repositioned. There's no need for Bilizandia to fly through the opponent's portal. You can easily block the healing on the other side of it and still be there to protect your team. The good news is there's at least time for CSUF, but how much of it? Really, I mean, what, 1.5 fights, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
They're only barely getting up to the Eternal Bond now.
Yeah, and Noah was the playmaker in that last fight for sure, with the push, taking Bilzandi on the other side of the map. Now they're pushing back to point 80%. Really, if Fresno State are able to hold here, I don't know if there will be another push after this. That shield is getting melted, and mine having to back up. That's going to be no shield for Fresno State, so Flark and Casual going to pop Avengers Assemble, try to create some space for Fresno State. Eyeing the healers in the backline. I'm a fish flopping out of water. Yeah, they cannot fall. If they fall, that will be map. Ritsky going to fall, though, and that is a massive Eye of Agamotto on the corner of the point, finding 4, but no follow-up, as it was in the middle of the invisible boundary. Unfortunately, Fresno State not finding the picks. And as I say that, Deathmonk, we're coming through with the Galactic Legend from the top, from the high rope, trying to shoot down. It's between them and Kinecat. Kinecat going to take the pick, and now that's CSUF holding point, but will it be enough in overtime? Bilzandia to the corner of point. Kinecat is on point. It's just Kinecat between two, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Kinecat will fall, and CSUF will take this first map.
Absolutely nuts there from CSUF. I thought the second that it was just 2 players, low health players, versus the Galactic Legend, I thought it was donezo. But what great comms from CSUF. Split up. Get away from each other. Get away from the point. We have 2 tanks. Yeah, we're low, but we have shields as well. Just buy out the Galactic Legend. Buy time for more players to get back. really nicely done to just narrowly tiptoe across the line. And this first map, I mean, this is what we wanted out of this series. Already it's delivering here, Nuke.
Yeah, organized chaos. Paulsible. That's
I mean,
all I gotta say.
that's
Organized chaos.
What we love about Marvel Rivals, it's organized
Right?
chaos.
That was a monumental first game. Look at the 44 eliminations on Kinda Cat.
Yeah, nasty.
That was crazy.
Yeah, tons of damage pumped in by both the duelists from Fresno State. But, you know,
Magic Man.
you know what they say, damage is nice, but damage when it counts is what
Yes.
really matters. And I think CSUF did a better job of having a few more decisive fights. Fresno State, don't get me wrong, I mean, we're, you know, obviously playing phenomenally, taking them to the very, very edge. We were 99-99 on that third round, and it was very close on the round before that too. But I think CSUF did a little bit better cycling their ultimates. Particularly, I think Magic Man 101 did a phenomenal job with the timing on the Eternal Bonds. Now, it was very nearly matched on the other side. I think Noah actually had a very clutch invisible boundary toward the end there that I was ready to absolutely hype to the end of the world because I thought that was going to win them the round, but it didn't quite. And Magic Man was able to do just a little bit more with that extra lethality on the Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Magic Man was the playmaker on that map for sure. I mean, the 55,000 healing as well. Like you said, damage where it counts is important. Healing is just great all around. You just want, you know, fill me up.
Exactly.
I don't care. So the 55K coming through, plus the leading and kills, that was phenomenal for Magic Man. It seemed like towards the end of that round, Fresno State was just throwing everything they could at the wall, the kitchen sink, hoping they could just hold point for another 5 seconds, while CSUF was a lot more methodical in how they were getting in. Like you were saying, the comms were immaculate, knowing when to touch, when not to touch. You could tell going, especially in those 3 maps, going into it, they were a lot more intentional on who was getting to point and how they were defending around point versus Fresno State. For instance, the portal coming through and then just saying, run through the portal and immediately getting Invisible Woman as that happens. So I'm interested to see how that plays maybe going into some of these other game modes. Certainly, we have a series on our hands, and this could be a Game 5 set.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, let's not call it on map 1. I don't want to jinx anything.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go 5 just as much as the next guy, but you know, we got to take it one map at a time here. We head off next to Convergence. We'll see what the selection is. The first map was each team got to ban one of the 2, one of the 3 domination maps, and then we went to Hydra Base Hell's Heaven as our final one. Now it is loser's pick. So if you lose the last map, you get to pick the next one. So it is Fresno State who have elected to send us to Central Park.
Yeah, Central Park, part of the Empire Eternal Night map pool. Very, very excited for this map. New as of this last season. Excited for the new season coming up. This map has some interesting mechanics around the the destructible environment. We've seen time and time again the amateur scene for this game, and maybe even in your own comp games, you know, standing on a church that's suddenly getting reconstructed and now you're, you know, out in the open. Very tight corridors on this map as well. Interested to see how that plays to the strengths of the teams. What characters are you anticipating here, Paulsible?
Well, when it comes to tight corridors, the first thing comes to my mind, because I have just nightmares from years ago in a game we don't speak of 3-3. I think of that triple Vanguard, triple strategist, and just the way it is able to bunker in, especially on the defense. On the attack, please don't play it. I don't think it's so good. But on the defense, it can just be nightmarish to try and dig out of the objective. Of course, also other things you have to think about, maybe not just like heavy vanguards, but like, can the Wolverine come into play to like abduct one of the enemy team's vanguards, right? When you have a lot of those tight corridors, it becomes a little bit easier if Wolverine can get you all the way down a corridor where your team is not standing. Hey, that's a free pick, basically.
Yeah, certainly. And we saw the Wolverine banned in the last round. So if maybe they choose and elect to save him earlier on, so that's a viable strategy. Fresno State says no cap, though. No cap. This is not bussin'.
Okay, you get one. That's your one. That's your one for the series. I hope you know that. Man,
And
did these two teams swap? I mean, now we
I
have the
guess
Emma Frost
so.
ban from
Yeah.
CSUF. Very interesting. Oh, they did swap.
They
Okay,
did. They
fair
actually
enough.
did
there we
swap.
go.
Funny.
All right. Well, I'm proud in our ear, saving
makes
our
sense.
butts. Okay, the cat ban makes a little bit more sense now. Okay, I understand. I was like, man, Fresno just played the Captain America and now they don't like it? What's going on? No, that's the other way around. That makes a bit of sense. I mean, that Captain America was one of the things that threw off CSUF in the moments where they were struggling, where they were struggling to find that organization in the chaos because their healers were just getting beaten in with a vibranium shield.
Yeah, in the back line. Not a very fun time as well, coming from a healer main.
Not much else
Storm?
changing thus far, though, in terms
Oh.
of the hero pick and ban here. Storm once again protected. Hela once again protected. Obviously, of course, when we talk about tight corridors, defending flyers, again, kind of like we were talking about on map number 1, are going to have a very nice time. But you want to make sure that you have something like a Hela or maybe a Punisher to assail those. So I think it's a good protect from Fresno based on what we saw on map 1 from CSUF.
Yeah, Iron Man popular on both sides. Not surprised seeing that going out of the way. We may actually see a group make a resurgence if that is the play to ban the Iron Man, because that was the problem with the walls earlier. Jeff the Land Shark going away. Maybe they just didn't want the team up. Yeah. Which is interesting. I guess he was banned in the first round, but they ended up playing Johnny Storm, and he's got the team up as well.
Yeah, very true. Although it wasn't alongside the either way.
True.
Ooh, this is an interesting adaptation. It was a last round ban last time around on map number 1 to bench the Black Panther from CSUF. And it seems that Fresno have caught on to the fact that CSUF don't want to play against the Black Panther and are now protecting it to make sure that they have that opportunity. That, to me, reads as the same thing that Fresno was doing on map 1, where instead of the Captain America, now it's going to be the Black Panther going toward that backline, trying to really harass the strategists.
Yeah, and that's not fun to play at a high level. Black Panther and Spider-Man, technically sound players behind those characters are going to go haywire on a team. There's not a whole lot that can deal with that. But we're not seeing a Rocket ban this time around. We could see the Penny Rocket combo. With the group being protected, certainly I think that's more likely we'll see this time around. The Wolverine getting banned was going to put a squash in any chances of using him around the tight corridors. So we did see a Winter Soldier pick on the first map. We could certainly see that in place of the Wolverine if they are struggling against that tank line. Ooh.
Seems like it is going to be Fresno State defending first here. The Moon Knight rearing its head. You know, I got a buddy who absolutely loves playing the Moon Knight. I'm going to be honest. At the very highest level, I don't think the Moon Knight is always the most prolific pick. Of course, this is collegiate, so, you know, who knows? Maybe Clean can show me that he's going to get more out of this than I think. But I think especially against, you know, we just see such strong strategists right now. It makes it difficult unless you catch the perfect timing on a good Moon Haunts you. It can be a little tricky.
Yeah, completely agreed. And he's just slow compared to some of the other quote-unquote flyers. He's very easy to pick out of the air, very noticeable. Group on Jarzire. Pretty excited to see this Bill Zandia on the Thor. That's a very aggressive comp coming out from CSUF Orange. And wow, this Moon Knight seems to be coming through pretty clean. At first, no pun intended actually on that one, but look at the damage numbers across the board,
Already
just
has
wiping
ult.
out. CSUF
I mean,
Orange, look at that, oh my lord!
That's one of the benefits of the Moon Knight, though. You do get to deal a ton of damage. It's got to be damage that matters. I mean, you got that first pick on Death Monk, though. So that is nice. But keep in mind, for every point of damage Clean is dealing, if it's not an elimination, that also means CSUF are going to charge support ults very fast. They nearly have both of them already.
Yeah, I mean, Magic Man has an eternal... There it is, Khonshu's Hand of Khonshu coming straight down. Not going to find anyone, unfortunately, and they did not use any support ults for that Paulsible, so that's going to open the door, and it's going to get shut right back in their face as Belzandia and Ritsky will fall. Fresno State taking the green light. Almost a red herring with Clean's Hand of Khonshu. They said, yes, come on in, it's safe. and then immediately pick 2.
I'm not sure what the hesitation there was from CSUF. You got the Hand of Conjure out, you have double support ults, just go. But now Deathmonk is on a Moon Knight of their own. Nice pull, too. And Deathmonk already down? CSUF are beating their heads into a wall.
A little bit. Yeah, Jarzire, bit of a panic there. Threw down Strangling Prison at their feet, hoping to pull the rest of the team in after getting pulled by Cat, and it did not matter.
Whoa.
Now they're
Whoa.
just kind of throwing out some ultimates here.
Half your team's in spawn.
Yeah,
what are we ulting for?
Not
I mean,
quite
that ult makes sense.
That one made a lot of sense. They're going to push in. Not sure if there will be any picks that'll come from it. They'll find one, and if they're able to get the Doctor Strange out, it'll be worth it. But my lord, this is just a slugfest. And see, Fresno State holding down the fort, literally.
CSUF they need a full reset. They need to get out of their own heads. They need to all get on the same page. That's another pick on Deathmonk, and unfortunately, yeah, only one team is having any fun with the Moon Knight right now. I'll tell you that much, Nuke.
Yeah, and you got an Armed and Dangerous in the back, another Hand of Khonshu coming through. I mean, we could say we can see this from one of the games that we don't talk about, right? But one of the best strategies you can implement is just back up, just regroup. It's so OP. You're saving so much time. And unfortunately, it's a telltale sign that they are struggling by just throwing out these ultimates just to stay in this. Noah getting a sick pull on Jarzire 12. That's going to be an even longer stagger for CSUF Orange.
It's just not decisive from CSUF right now. They need to come up with a game plan. I mean, mine is going in. You still have Ritsky in spawn right now. And look at all these ults that, I mean, Fresno are barely having to use them in the first place.
No, and I mean, CSUF has so many online. Look at that, there's even more coming out. Flarkin Casual gonna take out Deathmonk, but is it gonna matter when Jarzire takes out Flarkin Casual? We'll see, they're going in. That's a third Hand of Khonshu, and now it's coming out Armed and Dangerous. We got the first reset from Kaina, trying to get around the corner. Unfortunately, gonna find the other side of an Eternal Bond. That carpet coming through, Fate of both worlds coming out. Not Hitori keeping the back line alive. And here we hear it, Meteor M coming through is going to take out Clean, the star DPS player for Fresno State. It does not seem like it'll still be enough. There are 4 in here. The Storm coming through with the Omega Hurricane will clean house though. Paulsible, like you just said, and Bill Zandia taking out mine will spell a unfortunate, timely demise for CSUF Orange. Fresno State looking like they're going to take this in overtime in their first cap.
But at least CSUF have a team. They need to avoid this Meteor M. It goes a bit long. Still a lot of damage though, and it's enough. Fresno are back into it. I mean, the Hand of Khonshu doesn't even have to be used here. An unbelievable contest. That's the portal coming through from the Doctor Strange. I mean, I thought CSUF had a glimmer of hope, but no, they are shut down at just 86%.
Wow, that's the Strange portal just comes in so clutch there, able to get the team back in it. What a play from the Magneto, just sitting back, waiting, biding time, then getting on point, utilizing all of their shields at their disposal, throwing the ultimate out, getting enough damage as the team rounds the corner. We hear the on your left through the portal, saving the day. What a play.
I mean, just a beautiful hold there from Fresno State. And I think CSUF have learned a valuable lesson. I mean, swapping over to the Moon Knight, mirrors can be shattered, guys. I mean, that did not work out on the attack as well as it did. I mean, it rarely ever does. I mean, Moon Knight can be tricky enough to get value full stop at this level. But especially when you're attacking into a different Moon Knight, it's nightmarish to try and find the right angle. And this isn't a map where, you know, you have a lot of opportunities for like cheeky flank angles you can get all the way around or anything. You saw CSUF, they were just beating their head into the same tiny choke point over and over and over again. Doesn't matter if some of those walls were destructible. They didn't choose a different path.
Yeah, the moon was haunting them that whole time. The moon was just relentlessly full in their face. We'll see if they can take a page out of their book, but man, it is looking unlikely. They can full hold this, not allow them to touch and get up to that third tick. They were able to find the armor towards the end of that round. But they are now running, CSUF are running the Penny into the Groot combination. So if Fresno State can find it in here, take out some of these mines, it'll be a pretty easy take. But that will be the trick, is getting in.
Look how far up Fresno State have already gotten, though. And I mean, Kinacat just needs one pull, one pick to shut down this entire thing. It's one fight for Fresno State, and CSUF have already given so much space.
Yeah, that's going to be Ritsky falling on the side of CSUF. Fresno State found their leg up, and the Thor force coming through. That powered up Thor just does so much damage. With Clean in the backline on that Black Panther, that's going to spell a map, too, going in the way of Fresno State Red.
I mean, there'll be one more desperate contest through the portal here. Deathmonk is swapped over to the Doctor Strange, but I would be surprised if they could pull off anything here.
Oh, they do make it in the nick of time. Barely there. And their first target will be the Winter Soldier all by his lonesome. Armed and Dangerous coming out, giving them a false sense of hope. Now we're seeing a swap as well over to the Thing. It's clobbering time. Unfortunately, it might be a little too late. Jarzar will take off, not Hitori, and now we're hearing a Bast coming through. Clean, trying to find some value, instead gonna find I'm a Fish on the other side of a wall, visibly in their face. Wow. Now, pushing on Portal, that will be Fresno State Red. That will be CSUF Orange holding for now against Fresno State's Red's onslaught.
It's a good contest, but you won't get that portal back for a long, long time. You won't even have it actually until like a few seconds into OT. So there is no room for error for CSUF now. This invisible boundary has to be perfect. They have 3 tanks, 3 supports. They are just going to try and batten down the hatches.
Yeah, batten down the hatches, because we're seeing a bit of a goat come through. 3v3 or 3-3, no DPS in sight. Agamotto's will be in sight though, as the Eye of Agamotto comes through for Deathmonk, finding Mine and Clean. In fact, finding 4 quadra-kill for Deathmonk on this Doctor Strange will keep them at bay for another minute and a half. They've got maybe 2 pushes ahead of them, Paulsible.
Bad news is that cost CSUF Orange everything they were holding on to. And Fresno, they didn't really bother using much. They knew that was a junk fight, that they'd get another much better fight. They're going to be able to open probably with the Meteor M, if not also in tune with the invisible boundary. And I mean, the God of Thunder too. It's just an embarrassment of riches for Fresno State right now.
Yeah, that's certainly a point that was brought up in the last round as well, was the fact that the ult economy on the side of Fresno State was just a little bit lacking than CSUF, and now we're seeing a bit of a turn on that head. Armed and Dangerous coming through the reset will get off, but that will be a ultimate coming out from Cloak and Dagger that will save it. Almost Leaf Lark and Casual gonna find it with the Meteor M, and now it is a scramble on point to hold Fresno State cleaning up shop, and that'll be Clean with the Spider-Man ult to take it. Fresno State will take this first round. Or sorry, the second round.
Yeah, no, Fresno State, I mean, that's their map. Congratulations, Fresno State. I think that goes to show that one of these teams has played the new map, and one of the teams maybe don't quite have a strategy that they're comfortable with on the new map just yet. It's always difficult when you're trying to go for the fuller hold on any map. But especially a map where you just don't necessarily know what comps you want to run. The 3-3 was a cute idea. We talked about it at the top as, you know, an idea, especially on these convergence types, to try and just dig in and hold down as long as you can. But Fresno State doing a phenomenal job going, hey, they got 3 tanks. Let's just run in, get all the ults that we need, and have one final fight where we have a bunch of ults and they have nothing. And that's exactly what Fresno State do. It's a macro masterclass, and it'll tie up our series.
Yeah, to your point, great stuff from Fresno State. They dry fought to their heart's content, waited until it was their time to get in. And yeah, CSUF, like you said, while they were a little bit rough to start on this map, they came back with that Doctor Strange portal and held until a minute left. So they showed that they could at least hold their own. So it's almost scary, you know, going into this next map ahead of us, whether or not who's going to have the upper hand, because we're now at a tied series, and domination is where we're heading to next.
Yeah, I believe it's Convoy next.
Convoy?
Is our third type. Yeah, we started on Domination. So I
Oh
think we go
my lord, you're
Domination,
so right.
Convergence, Convoy.
I had it backwards. Had it backwards.
All good. We run through it one more time. Hey, all good. Yeah, no.
I heard
we
the
should be
pause
going
and
to
I went.
Convoy. hey, I get it. And I think that this will be a place where, first off, I mean, CSUF, they get to pick the map now. So they won't have to go into new map where maybe they haven't practiced, they haven't figured out what comp they want to quite run yet. I mean, we saw a lot of just very odd swaps. Again, I'm not a fan of that attacking Moon Knight. Just go. Clearly, it's like one of those moments where Death Monk was like, well, if he's going to run the Moon Knight, I'm going to run the... I feel like Moon Knight is that, like, the pick that always happens with as well. At least in my games. Like, it's always the enemy team has a Moon Knight that's just chunking everybody, and someone on your team goes, well, I could do that. No,
That's
not
the Scarlet
always.
Witch in my games. Yeah, it's like,
Scarlet
oh,
Witch,
I could do that.
Yeah. Oh, I could hit the alt. Gets nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no value.
And I don't even think it was particularly Death Monk's fault. I think it's just like the difference between an attacking and a defending Moon Knight, especially on a map like that a lot of the time. But at least credit where it was due to CSUF. I think the fact that they were willing to try and change things when they recognized what they were doing wasn't working was good. What they didn't need to, I didn't think they needed to change the comp so quickly. I think it was more of a macro thing because we saw them very much just kind of flounder, and it was another pick and then another pick and then another pick, and they didn't really get a fight ever on attack until the very last one. And then there was that insane recontest. You always have to account, like, you got to win 2 fights at the very least to get the first point on convergence a lot of the time, just because Doctor Strange is such a pain.
Yeah, and he's going to get there. And to be fair, we would have seen an entire, essentially convoy push from there, but that map was cut very short with neither side taking it at all. To that point, though, it was very, very interesting watching the swaps over, like you mentioned with the Moon Knight. We've seen that all series as well with the Doctor Strange, and then in that last fight with the Thing, right? They're making these swaps and going, wait, that's working for them. I think I'm going to try that as well.
It's been a lot of Death Monk doing that too, right? Like we saw the Star-Lord on that one round, and then Death Monk went to it. Admittedly, there it worked. Admittedly, there Death Monk had some clutch plays on the Star-Lord. So obviously, there is some logic to it, but it's just not a thing you can always count on.
Certainly. Yeah, certainly. And Voice of God is telling us now we're getting ready for the next map.
Yeah, I'm excited to see which convoy map we go to here. I think... oh, yeah, we are going to be going to a break here first. Before we do that, we'll catch you all on the flip side for map number 3.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your, nope, get after it, and that's your treat. Stay, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
I'll just follow this up.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days
Has a
ago.
dog been digging in there?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to the house. Just leave it.
The hell with that.
Ah, yeah, there's something in there. Ah!
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh God! No, come on, just reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is. Oh. What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. What do you mean you can't?
He won't let go.
What do you mean he won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing. I think it's on the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, I can't breathe.
We are all tied up heading back in after halftime between CSUF Orange and Fresno State Red. Once again, it's myself, Paulsible, here alongside Nuke. At least one more time, maybe even two, if we end up going the distance here. But first, before we worry about a 4 or a 5, we got to talk about 3, because we're headed to Convoy here, Nuke.
We are headed to Convoy, and excited for what we have ahead is we're going to keep the trend on the new maps and go to Yggdrasil Path.
Yeah, at least one of the newer maps. When it
Yeah,
comes to
new
Convoy.
Yeah, newer when it comes to Convoy for sure. Yeah, excited for this map. I think that we'll see a lot of flyers like we've seen in the first 2 maps. Certainly, we might see them protect the storm again. It seemed to have a little bit less impact on the last map, but they could try to run it again.
I will say the one fight that CSUF did manage to win was courtesy of that storm, the ultimate there, getting all the way into the back line and finding the strategists. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised. I really just wonder, man, I don't want to see a Moon Knight ban, man, but is there going to be one? You got to wonder after that performance on map 2.
It was certainly oppressive in the first half of that second map. We could see a Moon Knight band. It would also hurt my soul a little to see that.
I think it would be a bit reactionary for CSUF to try and ban something like a Moon Knight, because I think Moon Knight does a lot on Central Park that he's not going to be able to do on honestly most other maps, especially outside of, like, there are a few other convergence maps that I think he could get some decent value on, but I think on Convoy it becomes a little bit more difficult because you usually have a lot of alternative paths. There's a lot more ways that the Moon Knight can be harassed pretty easily outside of, like, the first point where it's just like, oh, we're on first point, quick, everybody fighting the choke.
Yeah, that could happen with the Moon Knight. Yeah, I would just like to see more, I guess, targeted bans on these supports. A lot of these fights are playing around the supports, and we've seen Magic Man dominate on this Cloak and Dagger in the first 2 maps, and certainly they're not running Cloak and Dagger, right? They're running the, at least the whole series thus far, they've run the Luna Snow and the Invisible Woman. So I'd like to see a ban come out on Magic Man's Cloak and Dagger. I think that could have a lot of value here, but we'll see what their targeted bans are. A lot of it has been around the DPS and tanks.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Fresno State, though, I don't think they need to change anything after such a dominant showing on map number 2. And yes, while, like, Magic Man 101's Cloak and Dagger has been extremely impressive, don't get me wrong, the thing is, there's so many supports that are really good right now. Like, oh no, I can't run the Cloak and Dagger. Guess I'll run, I don't know, any of the other 4 supports that have an ultimate that just saves my entire team. right?
Yeah.
Like, is it the
Yeah.
same? Not quite, but I don't think it's as drastic as it would be otherwise. Thus far, no changes from CSUF or Fresno State compared to map number 2. Both just taking those Vanguards of Pick off the table.
Man, no Emma love in this lobby. Not a single Emma
Not
love.
from Fresno, man.
Not from Fresno. They are not about it. And
Hella
we're gonna see
protects.
the storm protected again.
I'm looking for a Hella Protect next, Fresno, if you want to keep us just on the same playbook. Okay, Black Panther Protect, that makes sense. That was a pick they actually used in map 2, so it's not exactly the same order, but it's it's at least the same flavor.
Yeah, the timing with that Black Panther pick was really, really well executed as well. Went in pretty much every time there was a major ultimate that came out, like capitalized on 2 Eye of Agamotto's we saw. So not a bad protect. Jeff coming out again. They really don't want that team up.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't risk the team up at this point with the damage that Storm has been able to do, the times where those ults have been effective. I wouldn't want Storm to be any better in any part of the map, courtesy of a team up. Ooh, this is an interesting adaptation now. Because of the Black Panther pick first, the Hela can be banned away. That's actually going to give the Storm more room to work now. I wonder, now generally the last ban for CSUF has been the Punisher, right? Getting rid of that hit scan. Do Fresno State see that coming? Put in a Punisher ban themselves? I mean, Punisher on Convoy, that's like peanut butter and jelly. It's a phenomenal pick to set up, especially on the defense. You get that turret. You get so much ability to hound attacking flyers and deal a ton of damage. The Punisher is protected. Fresno realized they have to have an option, and I think that is a great choice from them.
Yeah, certainly agree. Especially around the picks and bans we've seen thus far. It'll at least shake things up a little bit with Hela being banned and Punisher being protected in terms of the compositions. But Hela has a lot more of an impact with team ups, and I think in terms of team comp than Punisher does. The Punisher team up with Black Widow, while it's all right, it's not shaking any boundaries or barriers by any means. Now we're waiting for the last ban to come through. Iron Man could be in the cards. Oh, they're going to take out the Winter Soldier. Definitely does. The resets were coming through pretty strong. They had to forfeit some of their support ultimates to keep folks alive in those moments.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Winter Soldier has been nightmarish for CSUF to deal with. So, you can really just see those 3 bans have changed completely throughout this series. CSUF just absolutely targeting Fresno State and the things that have been annoying them from the other side. A couple of, I think, clutch protects from Fresno State, but ultimately, coming out of that, I think CSUF did a little bit more damage in the hero pick and ban this time around.
Yeah, I would agree with you on. Yeah, I would agree with you overall. I think the Punisher save everything was pretty normal, pretty per the par of what they've done thus far. Keeping this Punisher was, I think, the best play that they had. Making sure that they're able to take out the Flyers. Yeah, I mean, if you don't, then your only option is Namor at that point, and then you're kind of pigeonholed into a comp that maybe you're not as familiar with. But we will see a double Punisher on both sides. Clean going to be on the Iron Man. I anticipated that they would at least try it and see how it works. A lot of open versatility on this map to be able to get around. I completely, by the way, confused this map with the new Yggdrasil map that had come out. That was my apologies earlier. I realized as we got into the game, I was like, wait a second, that map is banned for another 2 weeks.
Hey, and there you see why they kept the Punisher around. Yeah.
My lord,
although
that shotgun coming through.
Yeah, that's actually CSUF, though, who did a phenomenal job with the Punisher there.
Yeah, Deathmonk, like I said earlier, Deathmonk has been absolutely dominating thus far in this series, getting most of the kills and damage for CSUF in these critical moments. So Deathmonk gonna be who I'm looking at on this side. Kind of cat like we've been talking about all series as well, has had a lot of impact, made a lot of changes, but Clean has really been the one that's shown. Speaking of, Clean is going to have the ultimate. That's going to be Deathmonk taking them out almost immediately, and that's the name of the game for CSUF right now, protecting this Deathmonk so we can get around the corner, get these shots. They are playing line of sight exceptionally well and knowing exactly where to dig their heels in here on Convoy.
And the Iron Man's a bit of a gambit, honestly. Can they actually find a maximum pulse that deals value? But you're going into not only Deathmonk, who has been marking clean consistently, but also 2 shields from Jazzire and Bilanzia. So it becomes a very difficult task for Clean to actually pierce through. I mean, I'm looking at Cat. Can you use the ult to break those shields, put those tanks on the back foot, give your buddy an opening?
They should use something here, and we're gonna hear it come through. Clean getting a critical invisible pulse cannon out on Bilanzia, and that's gonna kind of break open the fight. Fresno State Red have 4 ultimates online. CSUF also have 4 ultimates. It is now a 4v4. Scratch that. Fresno State putting their foot on the gas, and it's gonna be a complete wipe. They take out one at a time. Magic Man, Jazzire, and Deathpunk to get back in, but that is going to be the portal coming through for Doctor Strange just a tad too late.
Yeah.
They will take progress and reset the checkpoint.
Tough to lose the portal there. CSUF holding on to a lot of ultimates when I think they could have invested a little bit more to try and keep more of the map. It becomes a little bit more difficult to defend the second point, especially since it's harder for Deathmonk to set up in a critical angle with the turret now. Clean gets a lot more room to work with, and that's a beautiful Eye of Agamotto. I mean, that should just be the fight, although CSUF weather it for a moment. Maximum Pulse doesn't find anything either.
Lord! What a play! Yeah, the follow-ups just have not been there, unfortunately. What a massive Eye of Agamotto, but Fresno State was not pushed up, was not ready for it. And CSUF just reorganized. Jazzire popped the Meteor M, ate the invisible pulse cannon, and threw it right back at him. That's going to be them digging their heels in. Fresno State gotta have the pacing down here and follow up with the teammates on those ultimates, or at least call for them. Hey, back up, we're not there, we're not ready.
Fresno were a bit greedy there. They went too far forward compared to the rest of their team that were still trying to push the objective, and now they have to batter into double support ults. This won't be easy.
No, it won't be easy at all. Straight into the Punisher turret, almost falling there, dipping down to 20 HP. Fate of both worlds gonna come out to try to save the rest of the team. Ritsky popping their ultimate as well. Pure Chaos ensnaring the battlefield. Cat going to fall with the Punisher ult at hand. Unfortunately, we're going to see the shield. Or fortunately, we're going to see the shields up by Fresno State, or that's CSUF. Ultimates coming out on point, just carpeting it, doing everything they can to stay alive in this.
CSUF are down 1 player, though. Deathmonk not going to be able to bring out the ultimate here. I'm watching for Meteor M here from Jazzire. Needs to try and turn the fight if Fresno go before CSUF have a full 6.
And they're trying their best. Oh, and Executioner coming out on both sides, and that's going to be Meteor M coming out on both sides. Flark and Casual taking it out, though, and that's going to be Cat. Flark and Casual pushing the advantage for Fresno State Red. CSUF finding themselves on the back foot. Only 3 players, and they are going to need to back up. Unfortunately, they're going to have to swap if they want to touch. That's Bilanzia on the Strange at a 94%. Probably not going to be able to touch here. They're going to get all 4 folks on cart pushing as fast as they can.
Even if they touch, I mean, it would be a 5v6. It would just be for time for CSUF. Looks like they're thinking about it. Deathmonk here is set up to go for it, but you got to go now, and it's indecisive again, just like it was on map 2. CSUF, they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And unless there's a killer Eye of Agamotto here, I don't see a world in where CSUF is going to be able to do much in the short term.
Yeah, CSUF's pacing has been a little risky, and Ritsky himself has been a little rogue in the background. Unfortunately, we're hearing out an Eye of Agamotto paired with the Bast Descent coming through in the backline. And that's going to be Fresno State continuing their onslaught and keeping CSUF on the back foot. That's been pretty much their playbook in the last 2 minutes, Paulsible. They have waited for CSUF to organize, and the moment that they group up, bared their teeth.
It's been great cycling. It's been great decisiveness. Fresno State always seeming to know what tool they want to use next, and here they have both support ults to last until they have their more deadly Punisher and Magneto ults available. CSUF, they need a miracle. Bilanzia is going for it, but gets bounced back.
Oh, and there's Ritsky coming through, gonna find Noah. That's gonna be a massive support pick for CSUF. Now, this is the time. This is what they need to make this push happen. We're hearing the Judge, Jury, Executioner coming through. The Adjudicators getting buffed, and they are pushing their advantage. That health slowly ticking up, but it's not going to be enough as they fall to I'm a Fish, who's had incredible support plays on this Invisible Woman all series, pulling and pushing, ebbing and flowing where need be. Now they're trying to hold down on Cart as much as they can. I have no idea.
Oh, and now he's got the ult too. Oh my word. CSUF, the respawn advantage just might be able to keep them alive here. Still 90 seconds to hold, but that pick on Flarkin, I mean, Fresno can't push this now.
Yeah, like you said earlier, though, they've used everything. They have nothing. The next ult coming up is Bilzandia. Fresno State, while they used a lot, they at least have 2 or 3 coming up. Mine and Clean at least can get their Agamotto fast descent combo, but Mine going down will mean this is going to be a lot closer than previously anticipated.
A little bit, just the tiniest bit greedy there from Fresno State. They wanted to keep forward, although now it's CSUF. Ritsky, hello, how are we falling there? He's behind them.
Wild.
Clean, the Black Panther, the one that can assassinate the backline. Guys, you have to turn around. Oh my word, that's so much damage.
Fast descent coming through, coming on the back line. That's going to be Fish falling and flopping next. It'll be Death Monk prevailing. Jezire going down, and this is Clean doing as the namesake speaks and wiping the rest of the team to get the dub for Fresno State Red on this push, at least. 30 seconds left in their time bank.
Massive clutch there from Clean at the very end. Recognizes that CSUF are over pushing off the one pick they got. Yes, they got Flarkin casual, but CSUF, they didn't need to chase so intently. They bought the time. They had the ults they needed. What they needed to do was try and set up for the final fight, gain proper positioning, and use that advantage that they get from being right next to their spawn to try and set themselves up. But instead, they try and chase, they try and find a couple more, and that gives Clean that angle to flank around, get behind them, and that's exactly where a Black Panther wants to be.
I completely agree. And before the series, we were talking a little bit about the differences between 6v6 and 5v5. I love 6v6 for that reason, right? If you have a 5v5 into a 4v4, or sorry, 4v5 is a lot harder than a 5v6. So even if someone goes down, you can still get back into it with a massive ult like we saw Clean throw out with Fast Descent in the backline. Such a phenomenal play. And CSUF almost playing the same mind games that Fresno State played with them just, a map ago of, hey, you got to pick, come on in, the water's fine, immediate descent into chaos.
CSUF getting a little bit lost in the sauce. I'm looking for, now that they are back on the attack, they have to be the ones setting the pace.
Yep.
It won't be as obnoxious of chokes to deal with. Really, the one nuisance here is going to be Kinda Cat. This turret. Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe more than a nuisance.
Yeah, nuisance has no, negative connotation, right? More like a menace. An absolute menace. Clean now being the menace, taking out I'm a Fish. And Ritsky, that's got to be a full reset. There's nothing else that CSUF can do. They just need to wait for their players to come back up, regroup, and push this point together. We're seeing Fresno State take the same exact line of sight opportunities on this Punisher that we saw Death Monk do previously on the push. And now that's going to be Bilzandia going in, going to be shielded up, throwing up the shield, trying to play around this line of sight. Clean straight above them, having to break that neck to look up, get any angles they're able to, playing around the destructible environment. Such a nice tool here. Invisible pulse cannon coming online means that it could be disaster for Fresno State looking to push in. That's going to be Mine falling and regrouping. They are going to get a little foothold here, but CSUF giving them the space to do so.
Beautifully timed Fate of Both Worlds there too. Fresno State completely absorbing that ultimate from the Storm, and the Meteor M didn't get squat. Now Fresno can come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, Fresno is pushing in, and the Executioner coming out once more. This time going to stay alive by the Eternal Bond on the ground. Just got to stay in that. And there's the Meteor M coming through a Fate of Worlds. The ult dumping is absolutely insane on these points, but doing a great job of playing around each other. Falling low is Flarkin casual, who will fall. And now that's the Agamotto hitting the backline. The turret getting set up, trying to stop them from meters away on this point. They have 3 meters left. Someone's got to get there. with 1.58 meters left. They have one on point, but one won't do it. You got to get more than just that. CSUF falling with 5, pushing through. It's a tight situation here for both teams, looking to play this line of sight as safely as they can. Coming back from spawn, gonna take a second. That ult coming through, another executioner coming out, and now the tables have turned. Fresno State taking point and holding their heels in, as we've said time and time again, where it matters.
Really nice from Fresno State, playing right on the red line there, and that pick onto Bilanzia was perfect. That was the tool CSUF needed. The Eye of Agamotto was the only thing they had up, and with that tank gone, CSUF didn't have a way to fully remove Fresno State, and now 1 minute remaining, 1 minute 10 seconds, and CSUF, the good news is they have plenty of ultimates to get this next point. The bad news is if they use all of them, their next job, getting the other 2/3 of the map, becomes that much harder.
It becomes incredibly harder, unless if they're able to get the dry fight and ultimate charge that they need. But my lord, look at all of the health falling low. That is almost a prerequisite. Maximum pulse falling a little low, as Clean is gonna die to the Punisher. And we're seeing another Punisher ult come out. Executioner gonna get cut short by Mine. Headshot to the dome. Cat and not Hitori pushing their advantage here, keeping CSUH off point. And what a massive Eye of Agamotto, going to stun the rest of CSUF. Fresno State doing a great job of coming back and holding once again.
A huge Eye of Agamotto from Mine, and on the other side of things, Bilanzia has still been holding on to it for 2 fights. I mean, the portal is up here, but now you've got to just go and hope that you can barely make it in time. He's getting shot by the turret. He gets pulled out of it too. No portal, no chance. Wow. Fresno State up to 2. What a play.
What a play indeed. Yeah, that's the thing about the portals. They come in clutch, but if you can be seen, you're in the danger zone.
Unbelievable from Fresno State. I mean, compared to the back and forth we saw on Domination, when we get to these push, these longer map types, Fresno State, it has been night and day. They just look so confident, all playing as a team and picking their moment to fight, especially there on the defense. We saw how Mine was able to just toggle. Wait, hey, I know that my supports are going to have ults. I know the fate of both worlds, or rather it was the invisible boundary, rather, is going to be up. The final executioner from Cat nearly online, and just tiptoeing onto that point, giving the opportunity for the rest of the team to actually take a full fight with a real advantage. That's what Fresno State have shown us in the last 2 maps.
Yeah, for an ultimate called Final Judgment, it was happening a lot. I gotta say, Paulsible. Right. It was, yeah, no, but it was happening a lot for a Final Judgment. It was happening a lot.
It's one of those movies that ends and then gets a sequel and then gets another sequel.
Right.
And then go follow up trilogy. I mean, as long as you're Cat at the very least. On the other side of things, it was much more difficult for CSUF Orange. It was a similar idea, right? Obviously, they had the Storm instead of the Iron Man, but it was one flyer, one hit scan. The concept was the same, but in the execution was the difference. I mean, Cat always just playing the tactical safe angle, whereas Deathmonk, I think, has shown throughout this series to get a little bit more into the 1v1 against the enemy team, right? I mean, obviously when the ult comes out, that Final Judgment, that can be thrown toward the tanks a little bit more, but I think that Fresno State, their DPS have been just doing or their duelists rather, have just been doing a phenomenal job, basically just denying the duelist 1v1, like the ego fights. They're like, hey, I don't want to bother with that. I'm gonna go after your supports instead.
What makes sense, right? What we wish all of our duelists did in our lobbies. But to that point, you made a great point on the first map, Paulsible, that damage without any eliminations doesn't really matter, right? And we saw there, to your point, both Cat, really Cat shining with the 15 elims on that map, did exceptionally well ahead of the other 2 duelists on the other side. They were just able to find those final hits, and those final hits translate into a deficit and an advantage.
I think stats can be a little bit tricky there because I think a lot of like that final hit deficit came from the attacking round from Fresno State, where they're just like 2-3 fights in a row, just kind of rolling them over, right? As it was difficult for CSUF to stabilize. But that plays into just another issue for CSUF. They were really having a hard time stabilizing. They couldn't quite find the contest that they wanted on that very first point. They didn't pick the optimal setup when it came to where they wanted to take their first fight. They half lost a first fight and didn't give themselves a second because they didn't fully commit to it. That's just been the struggle the last 2 maps. CSUF, I think, are a really good team. They just need to commit to a plan altogether. Like, mechanically, I have no problems with any of these players. I think a lot of the decisions that they're making on an individual level make sense. It just doesn't look like they go into every single fight with a plan. The fights they do go into with a plan go pretty well.
I think it also come out to the maps, right? We saw them dominate very early in the first map, do exceptionally well around what they were comfortable with. And now that there's a sense of uncomfortability from what we're seeing, the communication just seems to be breaking down. It seems to be what we saw with Fresno on that first map. Just throw bodies at the point, throw your ultimate out, pray for the best. And yeah, certainly, that's what's going to determine whether a team wins or loses is what they do in those adaptable and very urgent moments with the ultimates and full-on abilities at their disposal. But like you said, we are going to head into a map 4. They're now up 2-1.
And now we go back to domination. Now is when we will check out one of the 2 domination maps. At the very beginning of our series, we have 3 maps in the pool for domination. Each team got to ban 1, so that left us with 1 remaining. But now it's all up to CSUF. This was the map type that they won. Now they get to pick what might be their favorite map in the pool. At least they'll pick the one that they didn't ban, probably. But can they actually use the sort of scrappiness of this map to come back? I think that Fresno have really woken up. I think there's a world where we see a map 5. There is, but I think it is a tough road to travel for CSUF. I need to see them get back to really picking apart the vulnerabilities of Fresno State, and it doesn't feel like they've done that very deliberately over the last couple of maps. Albeit, it's been a short couple, last 2 maps. The first map maybe lasted as long as the other 2 did.
Which is wild because it was domination. But to that point, we are going to Burnin T'Challa next for our next domination map. Great sequence of maps. I'm not surprised by this choice. Flyers are heavily favored. These are very big open spaces, albeit the corridor that you have on that first map. Getting to point.
That being said, I think that there are certain advantages for Storm now that we go back to the domination, but considering how insistent CSUF have been on this Storm pick, it has not been lights out. I think it has been good. Right? I think Ritsky has been doing a good job with the Storm, but I think, it's protected every single map. It's played around every map. They're trying to pick maps where you can go with the Flyers, but that also gives opportunities over to the other side. I think Clean's Iron Man has been having a phenomenal showing. Those maximum pulses, even when they're not getting value or at least a threat, that are a headache for the Vanguards on the other side. They always have to be considering when they use their shield because they got to block this giant team-killing ultimate. So I wonder if we're going to see any adjustment. The Punisher first ban, that tracks at least for CSUF. Yeah. Although, Punisher first ban on domination? Punisher can still be run on domination. Don't get me wrong. I like running Punisher on domination. But I think at this level, I don't know if that's where Fresno's first pick would have gone to.
I certainly see for them to protect the Hela here if the Punisher is going to be banned. If they don't, they're just going to have the definition of a bad time. They're going to protect the Black Panther. Well, that is a very interesting choice. We'll see.
I don't know if I agree with that. The other thing about domination is we did see the Star-Lord come out earlier from Fresno State. So it's not quite the same as like a Heller or a Punisher that can just be like, hey, you're all the way over there. I don't want to deal with you. But at least, again, that Galactic Legend gives you some pretty good tools to get up in a Storm's face and cause some chaos.
Yeah, let's see what they protect next.
Man, the Iron Man band too. Clean and Kinda Cat just getting targeted now at the end of the series. But that means the Captain America might get left up, which I think is going to be maybe not equally difficult. I think the Iron Man ban in the long run probably still a good call, but Flarkin was causing some chaos on map 1 too.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the ultimates that we've seen both sides choose as well, and with Iron Man's ability to reflect, via Living Legend, that is, that's interesting, especially with both sides picking up the Magneto. That's certainly interesting. And there's the Hela save, like we had anticipated.
Comes through.
Oh, and the ban on the Groot, which is, almost vital if you're going to be playing the Black Panther.
I think it's a good call from Fresno State though, because the few fights that they lost early on domination, or not the few, but some of the fights they lost early, those walls were a real headache. Fresno has been the more decisive team of these two, keep in mind. But when you make the decision, hey, we're all gonna go fight, and a wall comes up, splitting your team in half, ooh, that makes it a little bit more tricky. So yeah. I think that this is a good adaptation from Fresno compared to what we saw on that very first map in Hell's Heaven.
I certainly agree. What a great pick ban, I want to say, going before this round.
Honestly,
I think both teams were very adaptive to what we've seen in previous maps.
For the struggles either one of these teams have had at any point, I've not had any problems with the pick ban on any of these maps. I think these teams are thinking through it very strategically, and now it just comes to how well can they translate that into the map itself. Lean going back over to that Moon Knight. I'll give him a pass because it went pretty good back on Central Park, but I don't know.
And this tight corridor, like we said, could be interesting. I gotta say, though, I do have to say it again. We have gone into 4 maps, and it is so interesting that they've not forced these supports, at least on any uncomfortable picks whatsoever. And
also, CSUF adaptation here. They're going for the 3-2-1. 3 Vanguards, 2 supports, and just Ritsky on the Hela, which I don't think we've seen Ritsky play Hela since, like, map 1 of the series, and it was very brief.
Yeah, very interesting composition, but they are looking to brawl a lot more, get in there, and it seems to be working out so far. Bill Zandia going to take out Clean to kick open this first engagement. First blood going down to Clean, and Flarkin Casual in the backline on Jarzire. Rest of the team not around, and Bill Zandia looking a little low on point. Flying down, that's going to be Kinda Cat on Death Monk, taking 2 for Fresno State Red, and that will be Fresno State Red able to get to point a little bit fast. Wipe Havoc. Clean now switching over to the Iron Fist.
The rotation there pretty awkward from CSUF. I don't think the Vanguards were on the same page as the rest of the team. There was a very consistent clump, but they were out of line of sight of the Vanguard, so there was no healing. Bill Anzia, unfortunately, has to try and bail himself out, go all the way up with flight, and at that exact moment, the healers actually turned the corner, so then Bill Anzia wasn't able to get back down and protect them. A tough way to start here for CSUF, and now, I mean, they are getting battered in this corridor.
Oh, my lord, and Clean on this Iron Fist trying to cause some commotion. That'll be Bill Zandia on the other end of that. Death Monk coming in on this Thor. And like we said earlier, the Thor Hela team up could prove to be very valuable here for them. Fate of Both Worlds coming through, getting the rest of the team to point, playing around Dima Fish exceptionally well for CSUF. CSUF not looking to repeat their first round at all, trying to get this before it gets to 80%, and they may do it. It's looking a little even on point. Nah, I'd say that. Oh, Clobber in time coming through, targeting the backline. Magic Man taking out Noah. That'll be the Avengers Assemble coming through from the Captain America, holding point a little bit longer, trying to repeat that first round, keep it up to 80%, and the detriment of the environment being destroyed will shut down that main corridor, keeping point closed off. Now they just have to play on the Cloak and Dagger ult. Ritsky coming through on the side of CSUF, getting this point finally will be CSUF after a long-winded fight.
But it's such a phenomenal stall there from Fresno State. They trade the Captain America ult for both support ults and now can come back in with plenty of their own. The only thing they have to worry about, the Eye of Agamotto and the Goddess of Death. I mean, those are nasty. The Invisible Boundary, I mean, as long as it's timed well, could absorb all the damage they're worried about.
One can hope. One can hope. I mean, they have to keep the Invisible Woman alive, and they've done that for a majority of these fights. We'll see how it plays out here. Jumping in the back line. The Iron Fist coming through, going to block it, get the punch off, and now we're hearing Hela jump up in the air, Goddess of Death, trying to do what she can. A repeat coming out, back on Reetsky. That's going to be Cat now, aiming for the back line of CSUF as Fresno State, aiming to regain control with just a few and a bit of a hope.
Oh, it's scrappy here. Fresno just trying to do what CSUF did and stall as long as they can, but they don't have the same numbers. They don't have the same ults. Time on the edge of this fight, but I think you just go for the full reset here. Yeah, now CSUF, they have to try and get back into this against the Eye of Agamotto and the Fate of Both Worlds. Fresno have everything they need to stall for this. All they need to do is use that Fate of Both Worlds later than the Cloak and Dagger ult.
Ooh, that's going to be 4 stuck in the Eye of Agamotto, and that's going to be 3 at least going down. I'm a Fish holding on by a thread, trying to get off of the hook here. Onto the side, Cat taking out Death Monk.
Whoa.
That's going to be Fresno State now with 4 on their own, stunned from the Eye of Agamotto. And we do see Magic Man with Ultimate online, but will it save the team in time? It will not. Fresno State going to go up 1 in this series. They need 1 more, and that will be series for them, Paulsible.
Any of the next 2 points here, any of the next 2 capture points, and Fresno State will get themselves a win. That'll put CSUF at, I think, a final record of 4-2. Still pretty good. Still likely to squeak into the playoffs. Remember, we have 7 teams here in this group, and the top 3 will make it to the playoffs. This series, incredibly important for both of our teams, who only currently have 1 loss each.
Yeah, gonna definitely be a second. I think I saw one of them was 4-1, the other was 2-1, so a little bit of a difference in terms of games there. But yeah, both only with one team is going to have to take their second loss tonight. Domination a little bit different than the other game modes as well. Possible they will retain their ultimates going into this next round as long as they do not switch characters. So we do see Magic Man coming to point with Eternal Bond and Hattori coming to point with a Fate of Both Worlds, which could spell the fate of the first map possession.
2 support ults for CSUF should mean that they are able to sustain through this fight longer than Fresno, but they've had some issues with committing to that, and with Reetsky already down, I wonder if they even bother.
Yeah, that's tough, and that is their only DPS. They don't have any other DPS. They have 3 tanks, so they just got to get to point and try to out-sustain with both of those support ults, if that's what the play is going to be. But that's Cat going up in the air on 40 HP and a Dream. They'll come out of it with some of their health. Fate of Both Worlds coming out, like you mentioned earlier, but going to get decimated as they try to amp up some of the power, and instead are not able to heal the rest of the team. Mr. Fantastic coming out with the ult of his own. That Brainiac bounce, gonna take a couple, cause some disruption in the backline. Clean looking to play around Flarkin Castle now, or Casual now, and try to get in that backline. Dealing with a Captain America is one thing. Dealing with a Captain America and a Mr. Fantastic, that is tough, Paulsible.
And I mean, they were already struggling to deal with just Flarkin. Now the Clean's going to be there with him. It's more of a headache. And I mean, so much available for Fresno State, too. Reetsky is swapped over. I mean, now it's the 3-3 for CSUF. But what damage are you going to be dealing outside of ultimates? I mean, Reetsky has to steal something important here to get any value.
And we're hearing it. Is it coming through? Eye of Agamotto going to catch a platter of enemies. And we're hearing the ultimates come through. Clobber in time, Invisible Boundary, Meteor M. It's all raining down in this corridor. And as it's raining down, tick-tock. Paulsible, that clock is moving 50% in favor of Fresno State Red. Now, God of Thunder coming through. Unfortunately, not going to find anyone diving towards that backline. Cat going to take out Death Monk. A Fatal Worlds coming through again, and Eternal Bond trying to get to the point for CSUF. They're going to get there, but at what cost? They don't have Death Monk on them yet. Death Monk already swapped back over. It is a 5v6, and we're seeing them go up. Cat once again taking out Magic Man, just missile upon missile on these supports, not allowing them any breathing room.
I mean, Death Monk tried his best trying to break through and create an opening with the God of Thunder, but it just wasn't nearly enough with how much damage Fresno was able to deal in that choke. They were able to work up to so many ultimates. They're still sitting pretty on the Eye of Agamotto, so if anyone manages to touch here, courtesy of a portal, I mean, it should just be done and dusted. Fresno, it is theirs to lose.
Ooh, they're doing their best. That's 98, 99.
Nobody touches.
And there it is. Fresno will take that second map, and therefore their third game. That is GG's in chat. CSUF falling 1-3 to Fresno State Red.
Congratulations to Fresno State Red. They have just upped the chances of them making the playoffs here at the NECC Marvel Rivals Summer Tournament significantly, and I think Fresno are going to be a team you have to watch coming out of this group. Keep in mind, their only loss on record currently was a forfeit in the very first week. They probably just weren't able to get 6 players all there at the same time. So actually, when they show up and play their matches, they have yet to be defeated. And you can see why here today. I mean, obviously, the duelist duo, Kinda Cat and Clean, were doing phenomenally there. But I also have to give a shout out, I think, to Flarkin specifically. Yes, I mean, maybe not the highest damage, maybe not the highest damage block, but such a nuisance, such a headache for any team. It doesn't matter what pick he was on, whether he was on the Captain America on these domination maps, or whether he plays it a little bit further back, plays the Magneto. A lot of those Meteor M's were heroic. I mean, just across the board, 6 players you don't want to mess with. Fresno State, a phenomenal series from them, outside of one little warm-up map error. Complete faith that this team is going to be a monster in the playoffs.
Yeah, I certainly respect the call out for Flarkin, and I agree with you there, Paulsible, on, at least shouting it out. Is Flarkin your MVP is my question, though.
I would probably have to pivot and go to Clean for the MVP there. If you're going to put me on the spot, I would probably have to go to Clean. I think that Clean's plays were the ones that really turned it around. And I think that Clean was the most consistent player. I think actually just straight up the most consistent player throughout the entire series in terms of impact map to map to map to map to map.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And what's crazy is while they were consistent, they were just as adaptable in the picks map to map to map. I think out of all of the roster that we saw, certainly not the supports, right? They stayed in their lane the whole time. They kept their healing up. No one banned the supports. It's like a mutual agreement. But with the with the duelists and with the vanguards, there was a lot of adaptability in terms of swapping off and on. A lot of the duelists swapped to vanguards, and sometimes vanguards even swapped. Throughout the entirety of the series, Clean was just dominating on every single pick.
It didn't matter if you needed a flyer to try and hold space with the Iron Man. It didn't matter if you needed oh my word, I just
Mr. Fantastic at the end.
Mr. Fantastic at the very end, sure, have some fun with it. The Black Panther play to get them all the way across the finish line, back on Yggdrasil path. The Star-Lord was phenomenal, too. I mean, there wasn't a thing this guy played that I didn't like. He even made me like the Moon Knight on map 2, much to my chagrin.
That was very funny. We were just referencing that beforehand, and then lo and behold, the Moon Knight makes an appearance. Wow. I do love that about this game, though. There is so much adaptability and swapping out heroes mid-game, and the variety of heroes is so fun to see. You can't just insta-lock and say, this is who I'm playing the whole time. If so, it's not going to work out in your favor.
Yeah, and I think looking across to CSUF Orange, I think that they had a lot of things that I did, in fact, enjoy during this series. I think on an individual level, I think Death Monk was rather impressive. I think specifically, what was it? Jarzire, I think did a phenomenal job. Had a killer Magneto. Look, from one Magneto player to another, I really enjoyed that Magneto. I don't think it was a mechanics or an individual issue at all. I think that CSUF Orange would probably just benefit from a quick sit down to maybe clear up some of their ideas coming into different maps. Hey, how do we want to rotate these ultimates? What is our plan going into these different fights? I don't know what their comm structure might be like, but maybe they just need less clutter, more clutter, who knows? Maybe they're coming too much or not enough. We can't say without hearing it, unfortunately, but I think some macro adjustments would do them well, because clearly on an individual level, we saw on that very first map, they can come to play.
Yeah, I mean, certainly working with a lot of collegiate teams, the whole thing is learning from the mistakes, right? So I think certainly if you're taking the summer and you're already dedicating yourself as a collegiate player to taking your time off, coming in, playing in a tournament mid-July, take that extra step, VOD review this summer. Look over those plays with your teammates, maybe even some of your entirety of the second team that we didn't see any of tonight, right? That we saw on the roster.
That's the other thing.
The CBS receipt of players.
We have no idea if that's CSUF's preferred starting six or not. We don't know what that is for them.
Yeah.
So, man, I think that definitely a lot to look forward to with the CSUF Orange roster. It's just Fresno proved tonight that they could be a bit more consistent.
Oh yeah, and they showed up and showed out after that first map. It was almost a reverse sweep. They should have dropped the second map, and then it would have been a reverse sweep.
Drat. They should have dropped that map where they just completely full held and dominated. And how could they? How could they? Well, either way, I think that does it for us. That does it actually for the round robin stage as well. I mean, we come in during the last week. We get to see all the best games. Now it's time for the playoffs. We'll see you in 1 week for those. That'll be next week, next Thursday, July 17th. Make sure you go to NECC on Twitter, NECC Games, that is, and you can get all the updates, all the action there. Follow right here. Follow on the main Twitch, NECC_games, and that way you won't miss a second of Marvel Rivals action. But from myself, Paulsible, from Nuke, and from the rest of us here at NECC, have a great night, and we'll see you next week for more Marvel Rivals.
Breathe. I'm so upset I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, it's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself,